Greetings and welcome to Spider's Web. I'm Spider and this is the web, and this will be the place with good topics and great conversations. So, I'm going to start today with telling you about something that happened to me about 2 weeks ago. Not just past weekend, but the weekend before that. I went out of town for my birthday with my daughter. She decided to take me to a casino, and I had a good time. I'm not going to say the name of the casino. I'm not going to say where it was because I'm going to leave it at that. So, we went out to this casino, and she played the tables, I played the slot machines, and after we played, we decided to go get something to eat. Then she said, "Well, Mom, they have the little lounge in there, and they're having fight night. And anyone who knows me knows that I'm all for UFC and boxing. So if there's a fight night, UFC or boxing, I'm going to watch it." So I was excited. And she said they have a live DJ, and it's an older crowd. I think it was 30 and over, something like that. So I was like, okay, cool. Let's get dressed. So we got our grown and sexy on. Went out, had a great time at the lounge. Had my drinks. The music was good. The environment was great. I enjoyed the fight. Then we decided to go back out to the casino. So I get out to the casino. She goes to play the tables. I'm out there lollygagging, watching everybody else play, and then I decide I want to play the slot machines again. So I'm playing the slot machines, and in the midst of that, I get up and I start walking around looking for her. So I don't find her, but I get stopped by a young man who works there, and he is a manager of the blackjack tables. So he stops me and he says hello, and I say hi, and he tells me his name. I tell him mine, and then he says, "Are you from here?" And I was like, "No, I'm from out of town." He says, "So where are you originally from?" I tell him, and he's like, "Oh, okay, cool. So what brought you here?" And I said, "It's my birthday weekend." He said, "Okay, so do you have a card?" I said, "A card?" He said, "Do you have a casino card?" I was like, "No." He said, "Well, why don't you go over and get one, and I'll put some money on it so I can buy you a drink." Okay. I'm glad he pointed it out because I wanted to get one of the cards anyway. So I went over, I got the card. Um, I met back up with him. He says, "Okay, let me go ahead and add the money to it." He said, "Meet me by the bar." And I said, "All right, cool." So I walk over to the bar. He comes over. He hands me the card and he says, "I put $35 on it. So get whatever you want. You want something to eat?" And I was like, "No, I'll just take a drink. Thank you." So I get the card, hand it to the bartender, order my drink. Ciroc and Red Bull is what I was drinking on that night. So I order my drink, and the bartender comes back and he says, "I'm sorry, man, but there's nothing on this card." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "No, it's nothing on it." I was like, "All right, well." So I dig in my purse to get my money out, and a young man that was standing next to me said, "Just add her drink onto my tab." And I was like, "No, I got it. I have the money to pay for my drink." And he says, "No, don't worry about it. I got you for right now. You go ahead and enjoy the rest of your night." And I was like, "All right, you sure?" And he was like, "Yes." I said, "Thank you." So I walk away. I take my drink. I find my daughter. She's at the slot machines. We're hanging out. The gentleman who supposedly had bought my drink texted me because we wound up exchanging numbers to keep in contact with each other there because he seemed to have been interested. He asked me if I was in a relationship and things of that sort. So anyway, we exchanged numbers. He texts me and he says, "Where are you?" So I text him back and tell him where I am. So then he says, "Did you get your drink?" And I told him, "No, there was no money on the card." And then he says, "Meet me at my station and bring me your card." I wait a while because I'm talking to my daughter. And then I go over and I meet him at the station. I give him the card. He turns around and says, "I'm going to make you another card because it must be something wrong with this card because I put money on it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So he says, "No, don't move. I'm going to walk with you over to the bar so that we can get your drink." And I said, "Okay, fine." So we're walking over to the bar. He gives my card to the bartender. The bartender says, "There's nothing on this card." Again, So this is a different bartender though. So he says, check this one. So he gives him another card, and the bartender says, it's nothing on this card either. Then he says, give this young lady a drink and put it on my tab. So I was like, well, you don't have to. And he was like, no, no, no. I told you I'll buy you a drink. I'm gonna buy you a drink. It's for your birthday. And I was like, all right, cool. He says, so when you get your drink, come back over. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I get my drink, and I don't go back over. What I did was I walked. My daughter texted me, so I walked to find out where she was. And when I found her, she was at the tables. We were talking, and I was talking to her about him, this, that, and the third. So anyway, he texts me and he says, "Did you get your drink?" And I said, "Yes." And he says, "So you're going to meet up with me when I get off at 3:30?" And I said, "No, I'm a little tired. My daughter's tired. We're just going to go back to the room." So at that time, I'm expecting him to text me back and say, "Okay, well, make sure you see me before you walk out." So I got nothing. I texted him back and I said, "Do you still have my cards?" And he said, "Yes. Meet me where I stand and you can come get it." Okay, cool. I told my daughter, I said, "I'm going to get my card." She said, "All right, are you ready to go?" And I was like, "Yes." At this time, it was like 3:10 in the morning. So I go over to him, get my card. He says, um, he hands me two cards, and he says, "Well, you can play these. You can use these cards whatever casino you go to where you live at." And I was like, "Okay, thank you." And I said, "Well, thanks again for the drink." He said, "You're welcome. Have a good night." That was it. He said he was interested, but that was it. So I said, "Good night." So I walked away. I noticed my daughter was on a slot machine again. So I walked away and I went to the machine, put the card in there, added $10 onto the card. Yes, the $10 went through. So I have $10 on my casino card. I don't know if this is something that he does all the time, but it definitely had me thinking that this is a scam, and he must do this every weekend or however often it is that he's there. And it must have worked for him on numerous occasions, because that's kind of awkward for you to tell somebody you're going to put money on their card, then you don't put money on their card, and say it's something wrong with the card, but it's nothing wrong with either of the cards. When he hands them back to me, he says both of these cards are good. So then, what happened to the $35 you claimed you put on the card? Crazy, strange, awkward. Then I started thinking. I didn't think about it the next morning because I was busy hanging out, still celebrating my birthday. But by the time I got home, my mind went in all kind of directions. Okay, so there's sex trafficking going on in the world today. I could have been a part of a sex trafficking scam. No one would ever know. I could have been that woman that decided to go out with this man at 3:30 in the morning, and he could have drugged me. He could have uh, had sex with me. He could have sold me for sex trafficking, and anything could have happened. It's just crazy that at some point in time we really have to start thinking these thoughts. We can't just say, "Okay, well, it's good people out here." I mean, this is crazy. I know I don't hear it and I don't see it much often on the internet, um, as far as social media, like it was a couple of weeks ago or maybe a month ago, where it was all over the place. Women were being snatched, girls were being taken, people are missing. It's not to say that it's not still happening, because I'm pretty sure that it's still going on. It's just that we have other things that has taken the front line, where that's now put on the back burner. But it's something we should never forget, because this could have happened to me that night. I could have been gullible. Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, come on. Yes. Mm-hmm. He was a nice looking man. very nice looking. And he had charisma and he had charm, and I could have went and never been seen again. We never know who's going to be out there. It could be the closest person to you. It could be the strangest person from you that you don't know that could sell you in a sex trafficking scam. So, ladies, men, please be careful. People in general, be careful. Pay attention to your surroundings. Don't just jump at every little invitation that you get from someone on the streets or someone at a casino or someone that you meet in a store. It's just these days and times are critical. They are definitely critical. And it's a shame that we have to think that way. So for all my ladies who are out there and they're saying that they don't want to carry a gun, nope, don't want a gun. You don't have to have a gun, but get you some sort of a protective weapon. Get you a, I don't know, get a taser. Get a knife. Get a box cutter. Uh, get some pepper spray. Hell, get hairspray and keep it on you. It doesn't matter. Find something that you're comfortable with and in order to protect yourself in case of something happening. Another thing is what I don't do, and some people might not do as well, is I don't keep my location on. But from here on out, when I travel um, out of town, I will keep my location on just in case something happens and they need to locate me. It'll be my location on my phone will stay on when I'm traveling out of town, because that's an easier way for people to find you if something happens. I don't care, even if you get lost. And you could talk and say, I don't know where I am. And someone in your family, one of your family members might say, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and find you through the locator. It's crazy we have to think like this, but it's life. So, with I said that to say this, let's all be safe, be careful, keep our eyes and ears open, pay attention to some strange things that may be going on, um, and life is not promised. You're here today and gone tomorrow, so enjoy it, but be safe, be careful, stay alert. So until next time, peace.